In this episode of Negative Modifier, we'll be playing the game Delta Green. Delta Green, by design, tackles various mature themes that may be uncomfortable or triggering for listeners. Listener discretion is advised. Hey, it's Charlie, Negative Modifier's Game Master. First off, thank you for giving us a listen. As always, expect something horrible to happen to the players. If you're a fan, support us by leaving a review on iTunes. And if you hate the show, consider doing it anyway and enjoying the fact that you've inflicted us on someone else. For the most up-to-date news in the podcast, follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And with that... So you step into the shipping offices, the New York shipping offices, I guess I should be more specific, of Bolton Shipping. It's pretty Spartan inside. It's a pretty kind of generic, just dock office, like not like a kind of a sad beige wall, various kind of computer stations, some kind of AV equipment for probably talking to the docks more specifically, or boats or something like that, some nautical charts on the table. It's a two-story building. So there's this floor and there's an upstairs floor as well. You're not seeing the security equipment here necessarily, but it would make sense for it to be upstairs too. Lots of windows looking out over the docks, lots of filing cabinets here, a couple of big tables you could lay out like maps on or kind of like work on or whatever. It's a pretty basic office. There's even like a crappy coffee machine in one corner. Yeah, it's a normal shipping office, at least at this level. You upstairs?
Well, yeah.
I was gonna head directly to like the the real offices, like the manager offices or whatever, or to the camera room or whatever.
Yeah.
Find that.
So the second floor is kind of the equally kind of open concept. It's mostly open space. There is a couple private offices for meetings or phone calls or something. But yeah, you do kind of find off on one side there does appear to be the security camera set up. It's a kind of a little specific kind of little server thing set up it's got a couple monitors to it. It's showing dead camera feeds. It's still trying to find the feeds, but it's just showing blackness because nothing's coming in for them. It is detecting an error of some kind. It's going to kind of destroy those computers.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, I mean, is it like a server room?
No, it's just like a Dell computer almost. Like this is not anything fancy by any measure.
Oh, okay.
It's even on and logged in. Like it's just showing the not working feeds of the various cameras you've knocked out.
Is it uploading? Like,
No.
Is it uploading these feeds to the internet?
Just local record.
Local record?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to log in and check how far back they keep guest feed history. Like how far back does the recording?
It seems to be that the hard drive's big enough. They have archives going back a ways, but they only kind of keep active records of the last like month or so.
Okay. How many hard drives?
We'll say there's about 8 terabytes of storage.
Okay. So I am.
It's not high. I guess for reference, it's not high quality video. These are kind of like just recording shit with a webcam level quality. It's not anything like 4K enabled, high end anything.
Okay. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and at this point, I'm going to go ahead and shut it down and I'm going to pull the hard drive and take it with me.
Okay.
Yeah.
So.
All right, that'll take a little bit of time. You have electronics though, right?
I do actually. That's one of my crafts.
That should take no time at all.
Yeah. It's more than doing it correctly. That's what I was getting at.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally could just open the computer up and rip it out, and it will be fine.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Well, I have craft, for electronics anyway. That's one of my perks. So yeah, definitely know my way around it.
Yeah, works for me.
Okay. So yeah, I'll go ahead and pull the drive, put everything back as is, and then of course wipe down anything. I'm wearing gloves, obviously, but like anything else as far as like anything that could have made any contact, I'm just gonna wipe down. Just at the sake of wiping down.
That makes sense.
Throw that into my. I guess I have a small back. Yeah, I'm going to say I have a small backpack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure. That makes sense. All right. So you've kind of handled security cameras. You're in this office now. You got to look around some. Now that you're here, like, what's the plan?
Oh yeah, it's time to look around the real offices.
Yeah.
Like the where Bolton's office is at.
Yeah. So Bolton doesn't have a specific office here, but you do seem to kind of get the impression he set up shop in one of the offices, at least temporarily. It's not his permanent office by any measure, but he has kind of commandeered one of the private kind of standalone offices. There's a stack of paperwork, some files, and manila envelopes kind of thing. But more importantly, there is a collection of flyers for Ageless Catering, kind of tucked into, looks like a planning binder of sorts or something like that, with a variety of kind of meal ideas and kind of catering stuff. It's almost like it's a... what's the right phrase for it? Like a wedding binder of sorts or something, but for just like a general big public event. Like it's a planning binder of sorts that the caterer probably put together to showcase a variety of things to go with it.
Also, it's like specially made for the this company.
Yeah, it seems to be kind of like it's very tailor made. You haven't flipped it open yet, but it seems very tailor made for like whoever the client is. Like this is just a thing they probably do to be like, okay, here's your contract in a nice visual printed out form. You can flip through and kind of review some stuff and tell us what you want and circle the options on these pages, kind of thing. Like this is a thing catering companies do, especially for high-end clients.
Yeah, we'll flip through it. Sounds important.
Yeah. All right, so it's pretty extensive. There's about 100 pages of stuff in there. You do get some locations out of this, though. So, and some time frames. So so Bolton has a event coming up for the Century Club, I guess more accurately, has a big event coming up this upcoming weekend. And that they are expecting catering to run from Friday kind of noontime through Sunday evening kind of thing. Like the final events are Sunday evening. Ageless Catering is taking care of all the food for it. There's a couple of security kind of company involved. It seems to be the event binder for kind of a variety of stuff. There's a security company. The venue has been selected for. It's a place called Hyde Mansion. It's in upstate New York, about 4 hours drive from New York, where you're currently at. A lot of pictures of that, lots of layouts of it. Flipping through this, you do notice, though, that there's kind of talk about how the Friday night stuff is a much smaller affair. They're expecting to have about 200 people total for the Saturday and Sunday kind of soiree. The Friday night stuff is a much smaller crowd. Official attendees is like 11 people tops.
Huh. Don't want that new rich in your fucking club, huh?
So as we're flipping through this, I'm taking pictures just because I'm gonna leave that binder there. So I'll take pictures of all the stuff. One of the things I'm looking for specifically is any managerial contact information. Like if we have a contact number, do we have an address for the business, or offices or anything like that in the binder?
Which business, I guess? Like the Ageless Catering?
Ageless Catering, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got that off their website. Yeah, you totally have that already.
Okay. Any a cell phone directly to the woman who runs the catering place?
You got contact number off the website. You do find a business card, which you'd guess would have that same cell phone number against Rebecca. You find mention of a security company called Iron Shield.
Okay.
They seem to be kind of doing the security for this. They're a real security company. You can look that up. Not real in the real world, but like in this universe, they are a real security company that does security for these types of events. Kind of guys in suits with light Kevlar vests and large handguns kind of thing.
Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to make a note of all these things that stand out. The security group, any extra contact information we wouldn't have found off the website kind of thing is what I'm looking for.
Most of the stuff is pretty benign. It's just kind of like DJs and song preferences and various theme ideas. They seem to have selected a couple options for it kind of thing. And it's a normal kind of party planning thing. Like the biggest probably takeaways are Hyde Mansion, Iron Shield, security. It's more, it's kind of, I guess, more details for Ageless Catering. Like, it's kind of a lot of general party supply stuff. There's a variety of companies you could hypothetically use to gain access if you had more time or kind of access to it. Like there's a tent company showing up. There's a variety of kind of paths you could go down that will deal with as you kind of decide what you want to do later on. And yeah, you harvest this binder for all it's worth. There's a lot of potentially useful information here, but nothing inherently damning to it itself, except the fact that it's confirmed that there is a Century Club event coming, and it refers to the Friday night kind of as the special principals dinner.
Okay. Is there a guest list for the nights, or an invitation list, or perhaps a copy of what, I guess, do they have a proof of what the invitation would look like, essentially?
There's a couple different options in there. Yeah, it seems they seem to have narrowed down to a couple options of it. It's mentioned to be kind of a guest list only kind of thing. There's no official guest list in this binder. Again, this is more of a planning thing. That would probably go to the security company or something like that.
Okay. Well, just want to double check if they had anything like that. But okay, cool. Do they have any mention of what staff from the catering will be working that day? Like they mentioned, how many people from their end will be working?
No, that's too detailed. That would be kind of up to the caterer's discretion at that point. This is just kind of bigger picture stuff like that. That's less client facing, more just that's what the company would do at that point.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, then, I'll just harvest all this stuff and get photos and all that jazz.
Give me a search, actually. I can give you a plus 20 on this one because you got nothing but time right now.
I rolled a 19 out of my 47 plus 20% modifier.
Yeah, so everything in here seems pretty normal. You're not neither of you are necessarily kind of big party people. but there is kind of one weird thing in it.
Mm-hmm.
Assumably, Hyde Mansion would have like refrigeration for events and stuff like that, but there is special mention made of a not a refrigerated, but a like freezer level box truck that's needed for this event.
I told you they were cannibals, dude. I called it.
Yeah, I was really hoping for sex cult because those are always interesting. But cannibals, this is new. Okay, all right. Well, I'll make a note of that and all that. Is there anything else that stands out, or that was the only thing that was like kind of a unique?
Without kind of the extra suspicion, you would even picked up on that. But yeah, it's just kind of it seems odd in context that they would need this or even have this.
Okay. So I guess the next thing I want to look for is there an area nearby that has copies of the shipping manifest of things that have come in recently? Or in and out?
Yeah, you can dig around and find that, I think. What are you looking for specifically?
I just want general idea of what they've got coming in and out, because...
Oh, yeah, it's cars, some heavy equipment kind of thing, maybe some, like, manufactured goods, like, I'm not even sure how you ship this type of stuff. Like, it's in large lots, I think. Like, it's... maybe some tractors or something. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that's come from all over, no one location. They got a couple boats coming in a couple days, but they're not from kind of one specific region or anything like that.
Okay. I'm assuming, well, I guess this is an assumption I want to double check on. Are they more analog where they have like stuff like HR paperwork and payroll on paper, or do they keep that stuff digital?
Probably a mix of both. Like it's an international company. They have to have access to some of that, but also this is the local branch. What are you looking for specifically?
Specifically, I'm trying to see if I can find a list of like the employees who work on site, just like maybe like a payroll sheet to see who's getting paid there.
Sure. To what end, I guess, or what are you trying to do with it?
I just want names.
Oh, yeah, you find some stuff you could use for that hypothetically.
Okay, I'm going to take pictures of that as well.
Cool.
Was there any other? So I assume we found that Sam or Bolton's temporary office. Did we find anything in there?
The only thing of note in there, aside for just like a bunch of general paperwork and printouts for business stuff, like there's some stock quotes and stuff like that. There's just some general kind of day-to-day business stuff you signed off on and stuff. Yeah, the only thing that's out of the ordinary there is the party binder.
Okay. So I'm going to look over at Francis saying, anything else you want to get before we get out of here?
Did you want to take a look through is there a warehouse attached to this one, or is this just an office?
Not attached to this, but you could go find the warehouse hypothetically. You could probably find some keys to the warehouse even here if you looked around enough.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and look for some keys then.
Yeah, that'll take a little bit of time, but you eventually find them. Kind of getting into later night at this point. You've been here a little bit, just taking pictures and rifling through stuff. You even have an address for the dock, for the kind of storage lockers they have. It's a bunch of, well, it's a mix of just kind of sea crates out of on the offloading areas and a couple storage facilities. Searching those will take some time, and there is note of security for both of them. Either it's kind of dock authority security or just private security they have for those buildings. I will say that kind of as you're going through the other paperwork you found, there's nothing inherently suspicious about anything that came in. It's all just kind of large bulk products and heavy equipment and manufactured stuff. Like again, it all seems to be kind of run-of-the-mill, normal shipping company stuff, like very profitable shipping company stuff in theory. Like they're probably like hundreds of cars came out of a boat, which to us is cool, but to this it's like, oh yeah, we run 100 cars. Cool, they didn't go overboard by accident.
My counting is 61. Nothing. There's no like, now that I'm getting like a good look at like their manifests and like records.
Yeah, no, it's like, yeah, it's on the up and up as much as a shipping company is. Like it seems normal. All the permits are pulled correctly. There's maybe a couple things that are lagging, some maybe a security inspection or two that's a little bit behind the times. But yeah, the business end of this at least seems to be as normal as a shipping company can be. Like they all have their weirdnesses to them, given the whole, pirates are back into the real world and they have to deal with shipping companies now, reality of things. And it's a giant boat full of like Toyotas making its way across the ocean. But yeah, as far as kind of accounting and discrepancies, it's all what you'd expect to see hypothetically in this kind of circumstance. Nothing no glaring weirdnesses that pop out at you. Maybe a couple of accounting errors here and there, but like honest mistakes. Like, oh, we thought we had 4,000 of this and we actually had 3,000.
Okay. While we're doing this, did we come across anything valuable?
Monetarily or like artifacty?
Yeah, like monetarily.
Nah, maybe some like spent, like maybe like $200 in like petty cash they have lying around or something.
Okay, I don't bother taking. Never mind. Like artifacty.
Yeah, so you do find kind of a couple what look like older school nautical things, like a a sextant, maybe some old kind of gauges or like that's out on the walls. They're more decorative than anything else. They're just kind of nice and there. Maybe a model of like some old ships or something. Yeah, it's again just a normal kind of boring shipping office. They're not going to put the good stuff in this office if they had in the one downtown.
Okay.
Gotcha. Well, so I'm gonna go to the shipping manifests and to make it look like we didn't just break in to look at a an event planning book.
Yeah.
I'm gonna really rip records out and just kind of throw them everywhere.
Sure.
Specifically the shipping manifests.
Go the corporate espionage approach or what?
Yeah, or maybe I'm like a thief, just like shipping routes, contacts, all that kind of stuff. I'm gonna maybe even make some photocopies. I don't know. Make it
Sure.
look like I'm really bad at corporate espionage.
I was gonna say, like, what is your forensics?
30.
That's enough to be a real intentionally sloppy criminal.
This is like trying to like kind of like when we blew up that house. Like I'm trying to make it look like the obvious conclusion is that we came here to steal records.
Sure.
And not be like, someone's going to be like, my event planning book got moved 4 inches to the left.
Yeah, no, you do the correct thing. So, like, you start at the bottom of drawers and work your way up and kind of make it seem like you were rifling through stuff correctly. Yeah, you spend some time doing that. You definitely have the kind of forensic skills to make it look like there was someone here looking for something they probably weren't supposed to have access to. Yeah, you do a fantastic job of that. Like, takes some time, but yeah, you get out of here kind of clean as best you can tell. You gotta go to the storage facilities. You going back to Midas?
Well, before I do that, I'm taking the petty cash because fuck that.
Okay, yeah, it would make sense to steal that. The thief would steal that.
Hell yeah.
So you steal the petty cash and also a 1 stamp away from a free sandwich from a PD's Deli card from someone's desk.
Oh, I'm a horrible son of a bitch.
And we leave a sticky note saying that we stole that specifically.
Cool.
I'm just kidding.
Just gonna write "fuck yo sandwich" on there or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't
It's
even
my
eat here. I
sandwich
eat
now.
at Quiznos.
I put tax all over somebody's seat,
It's probably going a bit far for Delta Green, but yeah, you make a clean enough getaway kind of thing. You rifle through. It looks real broken into. You feel pretty well that you've masked whatever you were like. No one's going to guess the main target or the main kind of source of interest was the planning binder. Yeah, you've done a pretty good job making it seem like someone just broke in and yeah. All right, cool.
Sick. Yeah, we definitely. Did you want to head to the storage facility? Because I definitely want to.
Yeah, let's take a gander. We already have the keys, so we might as well. But I also want to keep an eye out because in case there's any security as we head over there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's head on over.
All right, so we're now going to jump over to Agent Faustus and Agent Florent. You're in sight of the People's Brew. Is the plan to kind of go in as a team, to go in separately? What's the approach for this?
So, did you still want to be across the street as you were doing this, or did you want to maybe...
I realized that I actually would probably not be paying attention at all to what was going inside if I was left across the street, so I'm going to go in. We can go in together or separate, whatever you prefer.
Would you like to be my producer from Vice?
Sure.
Awesome. So let's go together.
Yeah, so you kind of, as you approach the place, you see a somewhat distraught looking, late 30s, early 40s year old man kind of thing. Short hair, maybe a buzz cut of some kind. He's not dressed especially well. Like he's put on a suit, but it's kind of like hiding the fact that it looks ratty kind of thing. There's kind of a shiftiness to him. You make a pretty good guess that's probably Daniel Grigorov. You approach?
Yes. So I just kind of tidying myself up a bit, and I pull out my little Moleskine notebook as well as pen. This is straight up my biblical notes notebook that I have.
Sure.
I approach him. Grigorov, my apologies. Mr. Grigorov, I presume.
Ah, yes. Are you the man from the emails that wanted to talk about the reality that is the Century Club? It was a Mr.
Birch.
Ah, yes, Birch from the emails. Yes.
Yes. I just go by my last name, so it's just makes it real simple.
Understood. I go by essentially Danny online, after all. Kind of like he's looking around kind of wildly. Thank you for meeting me here. I do not like to give out my address for fear of eavesdroppers.
No, it's absolutely totally fine. You don't mind if I brought my producer here, would you? I mean, like, I was talking about this around the round table, and one of our television producers was interested in, just kind of like having like maybe a documentary about it. So I invited her here.
Oh, please. The more ears, the merrier. The more ears that hear, the more they have to discredit. It is fine with me.
Kind of gesture from Florence to Gregorov. Do you want to introduce yourself, or?
Yeah, she'll step up and offer her hand out. Miranda.
Pleasure, Miranda. I am Daniel Grigoriev. I hope that we can work together to shine a light on the Century Club. They are a truly horrible group of individuals. He's like looking around, still kind of like he's looking for something or something snuck up on him.
Expecting company?
I am always expecting company. When you are trying to discredit the elites of the elite, they do not like you talking to them. This is the first time I've been out of my apartment in 3 months.
Gotcha. I take a seat. How do you conduct research if you haven't really been outside of your apartment?
I have the internet, I have research, I have books delivered. Mostly I just try and put context to the things I've seen and the things I witnessed and things I know to be true.
Out of character, did Florence ever share the information or just kind of the connections that she found with everyone else that this dude was kind of like legit, at least with the unnatural, or?
I don't think she mentioned it yet. I don't think so.
Okay. Well, first off, you say that you are a former member of the Century Club?
Yes, I was a member for 3 years. They approached me many years ago, back when my importing exporting business was at its highest. It's how I maintained some money. The business has gone downhill given my lack of connections and being run out of certain circles, but I do okay still. I was top of industry at the time.
When were you a member? Like, how long ago? Was it like 5 years ago? Was it 3 months ago?
Kind of like strokes his chin for a couple minutes, or a couple seconds, sorry. I'm sorry. I believe I split ways with them about 2 years ago, and it has been a rough 2 years. I have a hard time keeping track of exact dates. When you do not see the sun all that often, things blur together.
Understood. So before the Century Club, you were in shipping?
Yes, importing, exporting. People wanted things brought into the country or brought out of the country, and I helped them find ways of doing such things. Kind of pauses for a sec. Nothing illegal, though. I mean, just maybe the occasional item that you didn't want the prying eyes on, or that maybe had less than well-documented origins. You know the type. The occasional kind of historical find from an archaeological dig. I do regretfully admit that I was involved in some of the importing and exporting that was happening during the Medican Desert Storm that happened relatively recently. Some of the nicer treasures that got looted came through on some of my ships. Still kind of looking around very shiftily on this thing. Please, can we relocate? I feel exposed here. I will feel much more secure back at my place. It is safe. It is clean. I promise. No traps. I have no reason to doubt you.
Miranda, are you okay with this?
She just nods.
Will we be walking, or?
We only walk. As we all know, cars contain computers, and computers can be hacked, and hacked things can be followed.
Of course.
I do insist that you turn off your cell phones now, though, too. I holds up his cell phone. I will be disposing of mine. I do not expect the same for both of you.
Gotcha. Yes.
Sure.
I was going to pull out my real phone and turn it off and just keep my burner just kind of in.
Yeah. Century Danny leads you on a bit of a kind of wild goose chase through various alleys, kind of back and forth, like almost like designed to lose a tail that both your alertnesses are high enough. There is no tail. No one is following this guy, as best you can tell. And it very much seems to be all in this guy's head, like to the point where like this guy slips his phone into a Grubhub deliverer's bag while they're delivering food, like, and they drive off with it on their bike, kind of thing. Like, that's how paranoid this guy is. Like, he is spreading all kinds of misinformation about his whereabouts, and eventually leads you to kind of it's not a great apartment building. Like, it makes sense he can go 3 months without leaving and still afford to pay rent with this place, kind of thing. It smells incredibly strongly of soup, specifically vegetable, just kind of permeates this building as you kind of walk up a couple stories. He opens up the door to his apartment, and it's got the expected kind of newspapers all over the windows and blackout shades, and it's not a total mess, but it's not the place of a well-mined kind of thing. Like, it's dark, it's dingy, there's occasional kind of shafts of light through various cracks in the paper and stuff like that. But most importantly, just kind of all over the place, there are just pill bottles, amongst other things. Like there's the occasional kind of remnants of food, some plates, some dishes, but the guys just kind of like wrapped cables everywhere to kind of get various Ethernet ports. Like they have, as you're walking in, give me an alertness.
I have a passive alertness of 70.
Oh, that's more than enough to notice this. The guy has rigged this place up so that there's little mirrors everywhere, so there's no dead spots in his apartment, hypothetically. He can, in theory, see every nook and cranny of this place from anywhere, hypothetically.
Daniel, how long have you been living here?
It kind of pauses for a second. Well, I made the split with the Century Club 2 years ago, I think, so that plus 6 months. I initially rented this place as an off-the-books, in case something happened to me kind of place. You know, disgruntled clients, something goes missing, a family heirloom gets lost off the side of a ship, Bengal tiger breaks out and breaks something else. You know how things. This was my flop house, I believe is the phrase used, and it has now become my residence. I pay in cash. No one knows I live here. There's no rent there. There's no official lease. I am paid up for the next 9 years here. Yes, why do you ask?
Nothing. I mean, this was not at some point in time kind of a shot at your apartment. It was more so, especially with somebody who was in shipping and someone who would have been considered, a candidate for the Century Club. I would kind of think you had a little bit more.
Yes, I understand. My modest surroundings are intentional. The Century Club would never look for me here. This is also the damage the Century Club has wreaked on my life since my exit. Their targeted campaign on me, their spies following me, their hitmen making attacks on my life.
Hitmen? There's hitmen. Like it goes deep.
It goes all the way to the top. They are the most powerful people in New York, possibly the world, make up the Century.
Miranda, do you have any questions that you wanted to ask by chance?
Both of you can give me a human int while he's talking, by the way.
36 out of 24 fail.
I fumbled that shit. 44.
Yeah, so Faust is kind of nodding along to this, like, maybe he's buying in all the way kind of thing. Like, it's maybe a little bit too well. It's probably clouding his judgment some. Do you have pharmacy by any chance, Florence?
I have pharmacy of 45.
Yeah, so that is enough to notice that the prescriptions on the various pill bottles are calling out a very specific prescription for it's kind of an antidepressant kind of thing.
Okay. Any noticeable side effects?
You would know, like, not that line up with this kind of erratic behavior, but it's also designed to treat kind of severe depression, and this isn't how someone on this medication would turn out, hypothetically.
So, Daniel, how old are you?
Why? I'm 46. Why does it matter?
Well, when we cross-reference your information you're giving us, we're just going to have to double-check that you know who you are and you're not just somebody claiming to be who you are.
I can provide documentation. I have many files to show you that support my claims. I am who I say I am.
Okay.
And he kind of like, the room's not big, but there's a second room he kind of like scampers off to for a couple seconds. You hear the sound of rustling and kind of lifting of things as he's messing around for stuff. You got a couple seconds to converse if you want, though.
He's on a fuck ton of antidepressants, but they're clearly not working.
You have something to kind of clarify him?
What do you mean?
Last time we were out in the field, you straight up just syringed somebody in the neck. I mean, granted, it was kind of a sedative for somebody who was about to die.
You want me to just like the syringe motion? Is that what you're asking?
I was asking if that was what you were asking. I mean, yes, I noticed the pill bottles. I mean, like, he could be onto something, but like, we can't be judging people just because of, their mental status. I mean, like, that's a violation of like HIPAA, right?
I'm not that kind of doctor.
Should we take him with us? I don't like. You're more seasoned than I am. You're more seasoned. This should like kind of know where we are. Should we take him with us and like investigate it? Well, we can try to extract more information and then kidnap him and then raid his apartment.
Let's feel it out a little bit more.
Okay. I just never know with this group whether or not we're going to start like home invasion or if we're just going to be taking it a lot more chill. I'm just feeling a little anxious right now.
It's okay. You just need to breathe. I know you're under a lot of pressure.
Okay.
It's a hard job. You're doing great.
All right.
Yeah, so both of you, while you're standing just kind of in this dissolving of a life, give me a sand check, actually.
43 out of 81 success.
I failed that one.
All right, so you only take 1 point of sand damage for this. This is kind of, it's tragic more than it's truly terrifying kind of thing, but you are going to take 1 point into helplessness. Like, even if this is unnatural, this is dark and depressing kind of thing. Like, this guy's either onto something or on something, but either way, his life has been upended and destroyed as best as you can tell. But yeah, you could put a point into helplessness on this one.
Did we ever recover? Oh, sorry. I just wanted to clarify. We recovered sanity points last time or just willpower?
Nope, just willpower.
Gotcha. So I'm at my breaking point.
Are you at or below?
I am at my breaking point of 40.
Well, then, we will... That'll be a thing that happens that we will resolve once this operation is over. But please remind me of that when we get to the falling out action of this. So we have our first latent disorder coming up out of all of this.
What the fuck? Are you serious? Of all the things that's going to give me up.
Yeah, it's not the fucking unnatural monster we fought. It's the slow decline of this man and his depressing home.
You know why? Because it's real.
In character, like, it makes sense for Faustus to be like heavily affected because of how like empathetic he is. But at the same time, out of character, what the fuck?
It's only a point of sanity. It's 1 point.
Well, guess what? That 1 point brought me to the breaking point. That was my breaking point.
That's how breaking points work. They add up over time. It's the pressures of this job get to you. They put you in a variety of just incredibly tough situations. I am sorry. It's a completely kind of tragic but normal thing that finally broke an agent, but here we are.
Just to clarify, I didn't lose any sand, right?
No, Lily, it's a 0 or a 1. This was a very low sand check. I did not expect this to break anyone. This is purely kind of almost comedic timing in the sand check department, but...
Well, fucking... You know what? God damn it. Hey, Alexa, play Sarah McLachlan.
Fair enough.
Oh, no!
Fucking Faustus is over there staring off the 1,000-yard stare.
Oh yeah, no. This is like, even like, if this guy, if he's just crazy, it's tragic. If he knows something, it's tragic. If the Century Club really did destroy this guy's life, like he's claiming they did, it's tragic. Like, this is just a dark moment. Like, Faustus has seen some stuff, but he's seen war. This is a very human thing, the kind of stuff that he probably became a priest to try and prevent other people from experiencing. This definitely kind of weighs on him. Florence is a cold individual, so it's kind of like, yeah, crazy be crazy, but...
Yeah, right after Florence says, it's a hard job, you're doing great.
Yeah.
He bursts into tears.
I wouldn't quite go that far. It's just kind of like he a little bit of Faustus dies on this operation. It's not the monsters that got him. It's the fact that he's being just kind of relentlessly exposed to extremes that weigh on a person's mentality kind of thing. Like, it's, again, he's used to kind of the horrors of war and what happens. That's a very specific set of wars. But he managed to kind of emerge from that semi-unscathed compared to lots of other soldiers. He has all his limbs. He kind of didn't pick any disorders there or any kind of mental damage there. But, like, this is back home. This is where people live that in theory he was fighting to protect. Like, this is, by all measure, a normal person's life that he's stepping into, and it's just, yeah, it gets to him finally, kind of thing. Like, this is probably what he's trying to prevent all the people at the youth kind of center that he works at from winding up as, kind of thing. He probably knows several people who come from similar families that are similar situations to this, and that's probably kind of what, like, it's hitting home. This is very real to him in some ways. I will also say you could totally try and offload that sand damage that we made a big deal of it onto a bond. It's only 1 point of sand damage.
Yeah, let me see if I can offload that onto the church body.
Yeah.
How do I do that again?
That's just a willpower roll. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Or sorry, roll a 1d4. That's a 1d4, sorry. So you're gonna lose some willpower off. This is how willpower is supposed to be used. You're gonna kind of, whatever number you get from that will be subtracted from the bond, whether the sanity matches or not. So yeah, you totally can't solve the sanity loss. You're not at your breaking point just yet. Now, they made a huge deal of this, but you kind of you push this feeling off on your bond, and you lose 2 willpower, and the bond goes down by.
So, like, as I'm kind of processing this stuff, it's like, is this the utter shit that like the people that I'm trying to teach is bringing them out of? Like, this is the stuff that I have to work with.
Potentially, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so
yes, you're not quite at your breaking point, but it's good to know an agent's near their breaking point.
I have been near my breaking point. My sanity points have been at 41, and my breaking point is 40. So
that is completely fair. Yeah. So you've kind of offloaded that. Danny comes back into the room. He's walking, kind of kicks a couple pill bottles, and some stuff spills out as they kind of spin out. Doesn't seem to notice. He drops a just crazy collection of newspaper clippings and very official-looking documents and camera phone photos. Like, it's a whole mess of stuff. It's going to take some time to kind of sort through. But he's like, presents this like, look, it's all I have, and it's all I've been compiling for years. It is everything there will help explain it.
Thank you.
Fuck.
Danny, do you by any chance know anything about, like, you've been inside the people of the Century Club? Do you know anything about a specific person named Samuel Bolton?
Kind of bristles at that. Yes, I am familiar with Mr. Bolton. He was the one that invited me into the club, if you will. He is one of the 11 principals.
Personally?
Yes, he is the one that approached me. My understanding is that if you do something especially noteworthy and catch the attention of the club, they send a member of the principals to you to invite you to join. He was the one that approached me. I said yes. I went through the initiation ceremony. It was strange, but not anything out of the ordinary for these types of high society clubs.
What's the initiation?
It was a weekend-long event of sorts. It was some mask wearing, very eyes wide shut, very theatrical. Not the sex party stuff, just lots of eating and talk of travel and reminiscing about the history of the place and the organization. Lots of shedding of financial information and such. I pauses for a sec. I should not have mentioned that. Agent Kincaid asked me not to mention that.
So you said something about a sex party?
No, I use eyes wide shut as a metaphor. Nothing so ridiculous. There was couples there, and obviously there was hooking up. It's rich, powerful people with nothing but time and boredom on their hands. Things happen, but
you said sharing of financial information?
It kind of pauses. Agent Kincaid asked me not to talk about this.
Agent Kincaid?
Yeah, kind of like pauses. One moment. Kind of scuttles out of the room again. Here's some rustling again in the other room.
I was gonna watch him through the mirrors.
Yeah, he's kind of going through various documents. He pulls out another kind of collection of files. Looks like a business card and kind of a notepad and stuff like that, and comes back in and puts that on top of the pile. I was approached several months ago, kind of pauses for a sec, about 9 by a FBI agent, Nadia Kincaid. She is with the White Collar Division or something. They are investigating the Century Club for insider trading and monopoly manipulation and all types of marketing stuff. I'm above my pay grade, so I'm sure I was indirectly involved, but yes, a big part of the Century Club was a shedding of insider information, various deals, organizing said things. While I was there, several people approached me and offered to use my services specifically for coming in and out of the country, and I think the phrase was, if we all stay in business together, if we all get rich or something. That type of stuff. That was the main point of joining the club, admittedly. That's what initially appealed to me. It was business stock information, financial moves.
Speaking of business, I completely forgot to ask you before this. What was the name of your shipping company before?
It didn't have a name. We dealt with specialty clients. Again, kind of under the table.
Smuggling.
Smuggling is such a dirty word.
Off the books transportation.
Yes, that is what I said on my taxes. Personalized shipping.
When was the last time you spoke to Nadia Kincaid?
Kind of like looks at a calendar in the room that's like 3 months off. I believe I talked to her about 5 days ago. She is trying to build some racketeering or legal case or something. I give her information. I pauses for a sec. I I suppose you would also like to know who the principals are, too. One moment. I kind of grabs a piece of paper and starts writing stuff down. I know 10 of the 11. The 11 is the one in charge of everything. The kind of pauses for a second, kind of rubs his head again with the pencil. The keeper, I think they were called. He, she. They were always ambiguous about who they were. But yes, you already know about Mr. Bolton. The other members that I'm aware of were Samuel Bolton, Jacob Watts, Oscar Nelson, Jackson Vest, Ronan O'Toole, Fraser and Sella Tucker, Sophia Scott, Uria and Laura Notice, and Kaja Yang, and Hester Vilkins. I pauses for a second again. I believe Miss Agent Kincaid is also talking to Miss Scott.
So, Danny, with you wanting to get the word out on this, do you have any kind of dirt on any of these? Isn't it, dirt is such a weird word. Do you have any kind of information on any of these people outside of that? Any kind of ways to kind of communicate them, or any kind of leverage against them?
I have nothing, just
Names.
I know who they are. I know the names, I know their companies. These are all people you can search, though, too. Said you have reporters. I cannot give you everything, unfortunately.
It gives us a good baseline, of course.
As they are all involved in various financial dealings for the most part. Upper crust, if you will, kind of again pauses for a quick second. You should already be familiar with Miss Yodia and Miss Laura. They are, as they say, well known.
No, absolutely. It's more so, especially with someone being inside the Century Club, there's going to be your public personality and a little bit more of a secretive personality. Whether or not we end up kind of talking to these folk and then bringing this up, or at least kind of hinting about the knowledge or our knowledge of it, could help pressure lips to dance.
He kind of seems reluctant to say something for a quick second there. What roles do people have? I guess this is potentially a persuasion, this is potentially a psychology. What's the highest one if someone's got for something kind of applicable to trying to coax something out of someone?
I have a 42 on Persuade.
I have 69 in Persuade.
Let's see some rolls.
Oh,
36 out of 69 success.
nice.
26 out of 42% success.
He pauses for kind of a second, and you kind of urge him on. Like, what are you doing to try? And like, he definitely has like something he wants to tell you, but he feels uncomfortable, or like he doesn't want to tell you.
Like, you can tell us off the record if that would make you more more comfortable.
Tuck my pen into the book and I fold it over, or I kind of latch it and I put it down, and I just kind of open up my body language to Daniel.
Pauses for a second and looks at you all kind of like he's already mulling something over. Before my expulsion, I was rising relatively quickly through the ranks. I was tapped in line to move up to the not the innermost circle, but the step in between. And some things happened just why I left. You read my vlog. You are obviously familiar with the goat I mentioned several times. The traditions of the club are mostly hunting and sporting and adventure and stuff like that. Very European in that regard. But they all, as you rose further, you became member of the Black Flock, I think. It wasn't an active fascination, but all the kind of Century Club activities and parties and stuff like that over the year, there was always a goat, always a black goat, and new initiatives would eat the goat raw on the last day of the weekends that were thrown. It was strange, and someone always got sick. Very often someone came very close to dying, but when I was tapped to move up, I was given something. I don't know what it was this day, and forced to observe the eating of the goat. I'd eaten the goat several years before, and something seemed different about it. There was an energy to the place, if you will. Something seemed off. It scared me. I kind of gestures at the medication. It was after that my mental health began to decline. I left the club for what I said was personal reasons. They, at the time, seemed accepting, but ever since then I feel as though I'm followed, like they're planning their time. I've had business dealings fall through. I swear I've had men following me. A guy that's gone on like the verge of tears and like he's saying all this stuff. Like he's telling you're the first people he's probably told this to in a very long time, and it's very awkward for him to talk about this. He's like, I had this psychologist refuse to keep seeing me. Apparently there was a conflict of some interest or something. I do not know. I believe these people after I chose to leave. They chose to destroy what little I had to make sure I told no one. Eventually I started the blog. That's when things got worse. The medication stopped working. Things seemed to go from bad to worse. I do not know. They are dangerous people.
Can I make an unnatural against anything he said here? A natural check to see if anything here clicks at all, or...
Give me a cult first.
Sure. Failure, 23 out of 21.
I want to run an occult.
Yeah.
51% failure. God damn it. Faustus, you're useless.
What he's saying definitely seems culty, but nothing exactly what he's talking about springs to mind. Like, you would know a variety of religions kind of have weird goat fascinations, but you're not kind of what they're linked up to is kind of kind of dodging at this time. Like, you might have some guesses like, oh, a Salem witch trial, black goat familiars and stuff like that. Like, all the surface level stuff about goats, but like what he's describing increasingly feels more and more Delta Green by the second. Like, again, this guy is on a just obscene amount of medication, but also, yeah, he seems crazy, but like he seems crazy like he's seen something crazy. Like, mine broke a little bit crazy. And while this is all going on, Florence, you're going to kind of step back a little bit, just kind of absentmindedly, just kind of rocking on your heel or something. And you're going to crush one of the pills he's on. And you're going to look down, you're kind of like, that sound kind of startles you maybe or something. And that's not an antidepressant.
Oh?
You're not quite sure what it is, but you're pretty familiar with this kind of what antidepressants look like. You recognize what he's on, hypothetically, and that's not it.
She's going to, like, lean down to act like she's tying her shoe and see if she can, like, get one or two of the pills.
Yeah.
While Florence is doing that, I'm going to try to distract Daniel. Like, Daniel, do you need a hug right now? Are you okay? I kind of take a couple steps up, close up to him to kind of block Florence. And try to block Florence with my body.
Yeah, he just kind of breaks down crying and does that kind of awkward, like, dude grab where he's just kind of at a breaking point. Like, he's telling that was incredibly painful for him kind of thing. Like, it is... What he described is not what he remembers. What he remembers is far worse kind of thing, but he has no way of describing what he remembers kind of thing, if that makes any sense. Yeah, yes, Florence, who successfully kind of scoop up the pill. This guy's in no state to kind of keep track of this stuff. He probably wouldn't care either.
I kind of pat him on the back and I look back and I kind of like do a face to kind of grab a bottle.
Yeah, she'll grab a whole bottle.
Yeah, you successfully do that. No need to roll for it. He's plenty distracted and you might not even care. Like, so you got a couple of the pills and one of the empty bottles. You try and grab a full bottle because that's probably harder to find. That's probably harder to find. Yeah, that's probably kind of the ones that are scattered around are just empties. He's not kind of doing a good job at disposing of them.
Then I'll get whatever I can.
Yeah. So you managed to kind of scoop up a couple of the pills and an empty that, like, let's put it all back inside and pocket it.
I'm gonna step outside. I need some air.
Yeah.
Florence says, and
kind of straightens himself and kind of composes himself and like, well, we have much to get through. I will walk you through it. You can take pictures, I assume, with your phone. It says airplane mode.
Okay, yeah, like as long as you're okay with us turning it back on.
That is fair. I will take pictures for you and I will send them to you. I guess he gets a digital camera from his office kind of thing and starts walking you through the stuff. Most of the information's junk, but it's buried amongst this stuff is something real and very Delta Greeny, but he's not sure what. But like, this is too much occult to not be Delta Green and kind of a very abnormal location for Delta Green to be situated. But we're going to deal with Florence outside real quick first. So you're outside the apartment in the kind of soup-smelling hallway.
Yeah, she's just gonna step away from the door and lean against a wall and pull out one of the pills and look for the number. You identify the number on the pill and look it up.
Yep. So yeah, you have plenty of kind of pharmacy to know what this thing is. That's an antipsychotic.
See.
And you would also know that if you take antipsychotics and you don't need them, they lead to, well, the behavior that they're designed to treat with some frequency. and the pill bottle is marked for antidepressants. These are not antidepressants.
Does Florence think that, like, he's too far gone at this point, that if he were to stop them, they'd recover at all, or?
I mean, possibly, like, without a full kind of time to do a workup and do some scans and kind of spend more time with him, you don't know, but this is suspicious unto itself. Like, this is either gross neglect from a doctor or something else is up. Maybe he's not quite as wrong about the paranoia as you initially thought.
Yeah, she's gonna look around here and see if anything, like, seems purposefully just a little off, you know? Kind of like something that the Stasi might have done when they were running psychological warfare against people. If that makes any sense?
Yeah, it does. And nothing kind of like, yeah, so give me a search on that one, actually, as you're kind of looking around for this.
33 critical success.
Yeah, nothing about the apartment building seems to be off. But what you do realize is kind of you're looking around, kind of looking for some kind of warning sign of some psyop happening. The prescriptions are mailed to.
Huh. Is there a return address?
Not on the bottles, but there is a physician, a Dr. Lint. It's got kind of the pharmacy code and the doctor number that goes along with that, so you can, in theory, track the prescription.
Perfect. And she'll head back inside and help with sorting through the documents.
Yes, that's going to take some time, and we're going to jump back to Francis and Foxtrot over at the kind of storage containers. Looking for big ones, looking for kind of like, what are you looking for, I guess, specifically? Because the wide variety of kind of storage lockers they might have.
What's the closest one to the office where we were at?
That's probably kind of akin to like a, just like a personal storage locker, like you'd have at like a rent-a-space or something, just like storing some equipment, maybe like some golf cart parts or something like that. Like, it's nothing big. You're not going to store cargo there necessarily, but it is kind of a personal cargo lockup for storage locker for the company. Not a bad choice in some ways.
Okay, yeah, I'll start there.
Francis, you going to the same place? You guys sticking up? Let's stick together. You splitting up?
Oh, we can split up.
Yeah. You going to the same place? You going to something else?
I mean, I'm also going to look for, what do you want to call them? Storage lockers, another bigger storage units.
Yeah, so you find kind of the ones for the storage company. They're kind of spread out, so you take some time to go through all of them. There's nothing inherently weird about any of the contents. It's some kind of emergency gear, some rope for the boats and stuff like that. It's, again, normal supplies for a shipping company. The storage lockers for Bolton shipping seem to be aimed at Bolton shipping until you get to the last one of kind of a group of, like, we'll say 8. And this one is empty, but it does have what appears to be a manifest that was left there by accident, kind of on the ground, crumpled up. And it mentions that the guns would be sent to Hyde Mansion. They were brought in by not one of the ships, but kind of from another shipping company. They were dropped off at the offices. They were stored here. And sometime today, they were picked up by just a local freight company and brought over to Hyde Mansion for whatever reason. Like, there's nothing listing there for reason and stuff like that, but it is mentioned that they've arrived either late today or tomorrow, potentially.
What does it say that was on the shipping manifest? What does it say there?
6 large boxes.
Probably a cake or something.
This is not refrigerated, for the record. Like, this is just kind of some generic storage locker style stuff. Like, it's not climate controlled. Probably not food, but...
Any special marks or distinguishing things on the boxes themselves?
The boxes aren't there. There's kind of some scratch marks on the floor. But like, the manifest got left there by accident. But as you're kind of looking around at this place, something seems off about the space. Like, something, it's not spooky off, but like there's a smell to it or something. Like, I don't know, something that like got left there was off-gassing something or something like that. You're not quite sure what, but like there's definitely some type of smell or odor of some kind.
In the container where we found the large boxes, or just everywhere?
No, the shipping manifest. There's no boxes in the container with you. It's one that had the boxes. Yeah, it's almost like a hay smell or something. You'd have to guess. Like, it's a very farmy smell.
Can I follow? Can I follow the nose, or is it just around?
It's just around. It's just in It's just in the storage container.
Excuse me. Is there like a roll I can make to like identify it? Maybe like.
Yeah, I'd actually say of all of you, Francis is maybe the only one that might have a guess at guessing this. So give me an intellect check on this, actually.
Let's go.
Yeah, success.
Yeah, so this makes no sense, but you're standing there, and you're thinking about some stuff, and the smell is just bringing up memories of your son when he was younger, like when he was really young, like petting zoo young, and you realize this place reeks like hay, the type you might put down if you were storing animals somewhere temporarily, or that you'd like need to have a stash of to store animals somewhere. Yeah, it's got that kind of like wood chippy covering stuff smell that you'd smell at petting zoos or like really rich kids' birthday parties or something when they brought in animals or something like that.
Oh, the black goats. Oh wait, I don't know about the black goats yet, do I?
No, you don't.
Damn, too bad. My meta knowledge. No. Smells like they were keeping animals here.
Huh. Yeah. Wait, you familiar with this?
What, you never been to a petting zoo before?
Do I look like the kind of man who goes to a petting zoo?
No kids, I guess.
Do I look like the kind of man who has kids?
Listen, sorry. I thought you were just never mind.
No.
So yeah, it sounds like they were I don't know, like transporting either feed to that Hyde mansion.
Keep looking around unless we can figure out what it is. Just make a note of that when we talk to the gang.
Yeah.
I'm gonna keep walking around and kind of just taking some photos of the area in general.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, well, I guess we'll finish up searching here if there's anything else important.
Yeah, and this you kind of find some other stuff, but it's all shipping related stuff. But this is more or less you've exhausted all the stuff you can find at this office location for Bolton. You've done a fantastic job kind of thinking up all the stuff that they're finding, all the stuff I had planned for this space. Yeah, you can search around some. You're not going to find much more. We'll just say you do to kind of due diligence, if you will, make sure it's all locked up. And we're going to jump back to Florence and Faustus as they're kind of going over this stack of weird research. And I'm not going to lie, it's mostly junk and circumstantial and kind of got that real deep web board conspiracy theory vibe, lots of pyramids with eyes on them and stuff like that. But there is something here. Like, it's when you look between the lines, kind of knowing what you know as Delta Green agents, having seen what you've seen, some patterns do start to emerge. Yeah, the whole financial kind of collusion thing he was talking about, it's there. It's not blatantly there, but based on kind of like various pictures and kind of just the people he mentioned off, like you did kind of a quick search of them, they are all people that could hypothetically kind of be helping each other out with some just good old-fashioned kind of corporate corruption, if you will. You have to kind of spend some more time researching all of them in your next time you have a chance to. But yeah, you have to spend some kind of time going through the stuff in detail, but there's something there. And some of the pictures he has are from kind of like a hidden camera he probably tried to smuggle in once, and maybe that's how he got kicked out or something like that, or kind of got fully excommunicated, if you will. But it's not like full-blown like demon-worshipping cult, but there's definitely a vibe to how the Century Club goes about stuff. Like lots of just kind of animal pelts and stuff, like very kind of late 1800s, early 1900s adventure league stuff going on, but just kind of a slightly off bend to it. And both of you learned enough to kind of know the history of such organizations being a little bit fraught with weirdness, especially when it came to how they kind of treated natives of various countries that they discovered or adventured in, kind of thing. You make some copies of that, you kind of find his around sources. Like some of his stuff is just obviously wrong, but spend a bunch of time there. It's kind of late into the night by the time you leave. You've got some stuff to go on that you can kind of process through, but you increasingly feel like this has gone from, okay, why are we here, to this is definitely something Delta Green maybe should have looked into potentially sooner.
Yeah. Did they have any pictures of the goats?
No pictures of goats.
Are there any images that kind of keep showing up? Like maybe it's not a goat, maybe it's like a specific hand gesture or a specific lapel pin. Is there anything that's like super common amongst like this image or these stacks of documents?
Not like that, but the club seems really into food. Like the modern kind of interpretation of what they are leans hard into kind of large meals. There's something kind of always a themed meal to this stuff. The caterer makes a little bit more sense, kind of thing, given its reputation. They're big, lavish, kind of ornate dinners and such. Like the majority of the events the Century Club seems to do are kind of high-end foodie dinner parties of some kind. The catering is immaculate. Like the pictures of the food are almost mouth-watering. Again, they're very extravagant dishes, lots of meat, lots of exotic ingredients type of stuff, like in a variety of cultures represented kind of thing.
Just one last question. Daniel, how difficult or easy do you think it would be to kind of wiggle our way into doing some undercover stuff with the Century Club?
I do not know. They are a tight-knit group, Will.
Did anyone seem like a loose end?
Well, I mentioned Miss Scott. She is talking to that FBI lady. But if I was you, I would try to get there on Friday. There is some principals-only event. The opening dinners, if you will, very exclusive. Only the top members of the communities are allowed to attend. The Elite 11 or whatever it is, the Keeper and Bolton's crowd, if you remember me talking about them. We all show up on Saturday around noon was when we were told to show up when I was still attending. They were always very hush-hush about that. I think even I asked the security guards once about like what happened, and there's only a few were stationed that night just to kind of keep people out of the. I paused for a sec. I think last when I asked about this, it was kind of snaps his fingers. We were in Seattle for that one. It was some architect house that was held at.
So low security, you said, right?
The actual event, nothing extravagant. Not going to stop an army of anything, but I got the impression that they ramped it up for when more of us are there. They were very hush-hush about the Friday stuff.
And has anyone actually died from eating the goat?
People got sick. I don't know if anyone died. I'm sure someone did at some point. Not while I was a member.
When you saw them eating the goat, what felt off about it? What felt different?
When I ate the goat, it was gross. It was raw goat meat. I don't know about you, but I prefer my meals well cooked. I don't know. Maybe someone spiked my drink. That evening is foggy.
Was it served like a tartare, or were you just taking off bits and pieces of the goat?
It was like wolves going after a deer.
Oh, sorry if I brought up any bad memories with that.
Did you feel like compelled to eat it, or
if you wanted to join, you had to eat. That was the rule. It was at the time I thought a hazing ritual of sorts. I have done worse things for less gain.
I guess one more question: has anyone from the club just disappeared for some reason or no reason?
What do you mean?
Like one day you just don't hear anything about this person anymore?
I suppose I was not there long enough to make many friends. We only met a few times a year. I don't know. I'm sure people go missing. Dangerous friends, powerful friends. I kind of start scratching his head at this though. I feel like I know something about this, but it eludes me. No, nothing comes to mind.
If you remember anything that you think we should know, Florence is going to write down her burner number and hand it to him.
He kind of takes that and puts it in a pocket. Thank you for taking all this time. I am tired. You are, I'm assuming, tired. I would offer to walk you out, but I assume you can find your way there. I need to secure the door after you leave.
Good luck.
Yes, thank you. And good reporting, I assume. Best of luck with all that. They'll take them down. Kind of like fake enthusiasm, but he just seems drained by all the events you've gone through, and yeah, it kind of ushers you out, and you hear various locks sliding into place, and maybe a bookshelf being placed in front of the doorway or something, just like immediately after the door's closed. And you're in the hallway smelling of soup.
So that was weird. I'd walk a little bit further down the hallway to turn to Florence. So that was interesting. What did you think?
I mean, he's totally fucking crazy, but not crazy always.
Yeah.
Look, we'll talk more when we get back in the car.
So this is like, hey, just to give you a heads up about this earlier, Francis and I, we kind of saw a suspicious vehicle.
I'm sorry?
We saw a suspicious vehicle in the morning at our hotel room. The hotel was booked through Midas, but for whatever reason, there was a car whose license plate was flipped upside down. And then when I noticed it, it just drove off. Or when we noticed it, it just drove off. Now, I'm not saying that I'm as paranoid as Daniel over here, but keep an eye out for like a tail. As we get deeper into this, it's getting a little more concerning, especially with what we just saw.
Yeah, before you walk outside, she pulls out her pistol and makes sure the safety's on and that it's loaded. Okay.
I will do the same.
All right, cool. So we're going to kind of wind our second day of investigation down to an end. Anything people want to do before they kind of call it quits for the day?
Well, Florence isn't sleeping again.
Figured we would group up and kind of discuss what we...
Yeah, sure. So back to the office?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you all head back to Midas. It makes sense to regroup after this. You've had busy evenings after a day of research. Like, this is the rubber's hitting the road, if you will. Florence and Faustus, as you're kind of arriving at Midas, give me alertness checks at -40. It's dark at night.
Sorry, who did you say?
Faustus and Florence.
58.
-40 though, for real. Failure at 38%.
Maybe feel like something's watching you, but you look around, you don't see anything necessarily. It's dark, it's night, like the city never sleeps, so it's kind of lots of hustle and bustle about.